without changing gears. I'm just I'm changing the mix of where my energy is going to be from the fingers, from the wrist. And if I want to play louder than this, I can add my arm, but I'm still using my wrist in the throw. It's not that I'm going.
Right. You're not.
I'm adding the arm
everything works
to the wrist. When I add the fingers, I'm adding the fingers to the wrist. So I'm using the fingers to be able to play faster, not faster than I can with my wrist, but faster and longer than I can with my wrist alone. So to me, it's an endurance tool. It's not a speed tool. So when I want to play fast, I'm not doing this to play fast. I'm doing this because I can do this longer. If I do it this way, I might be able to do it for 20 or 30 bars, but if I do it this way, I can do it for 40 or 50 bars.
Right.
Because I'm using less energy. So it's not about speed. So it's the same idea. So I'm using the three different kinds of energy. The speed energy, the endurance energy, and the power energy is the same energy. But I'm using them in mixtures, depending on how loud, how fast, how soft I want to play. And I'm using that for a physical approach too. I have arms and wrists and fingers. I'm using a mixture of those three things, depending on how fast I want to play, how loud I want to play, and how long I want to play. But I'm doing it all the time. I'm not giving up the wrists to use the fingers, and I'm not giving up the wrists to use the arms. I'm giving up the wrists because it's reached its limit. So I'm developing my wrists to the fullest extent I can. I'm not saying, oh, I can do this with fingers. I don't have to work on the wrist anymore. If I want to play it faster, I'll play it faster with my fingers. Yeah, that's true. But I'd rather get full development out of the wrist because that's the meat of your playing. That's the center. The fingers are the bottom and the arms are the top, and the wrist are the whole center, so that you can go through a crescendo without changing tempo. There's no difference in my technique. I'm using the same technique, but I'm playing. If I'm playing fast, I don't have to change tempo to play. I can go fast, and I go soft, or I can go fast, or I can go slow. I'm playing the same way, so there's no gear change. I'm getting the same fluid motion from place to place. When I go from loud to soft, or I go from fast to slow.
And just varying.
So when I'm playing, my dynamic structure has the full range of dynamics. It's not digital. It's not soft, medium, loud, fast, slow, long.
It's an analog signal.
It's an analog signal, right. It's an analog signal where it's all there and we decide to turn up the speed or turn up the power, but it all comes from the electricity that we're turning up. But we're turning up the electricity on the treble, or we're turning up the electricity on the bass, or on the mid-range. That's what we're doing. But all three equalizers are working all the time. We just use, some people like more high, some people like more low, some people like more mid-range. But you don't go in and say, oh, I like mid-range. Cut the bass out and cut the high out.
Right.
Then you lose your dynamic range. Is that enough?
It's up to you.
I think I made the point.
You should.